All right, everybody, welcome to the Pursuing Freedom Outdoors podcast. Before we get started with the main feature tonight, I just want to make an announcement about fishing this summer. I will be guiding fishing trips in both Alaska and Idaho this summer, and I would love it if you would join me on the river. So, starting with Alaska, I'll be fishing with my buddy Jesse Wandling of Alaska Lakes and Rivers Guided Expeditions. We will be doing half day, full day, and multi day trips out of Fairbanks, Alaska, targeting primarily trophy pike, rainbow trout, lake trout, Arctic char, and grayling on the fly rod. Folks, we can customize your trip to make your Alaska backcountry fishing dream come true. You can reach out to me at Thomas at pursuingfreedomoutdoors.com, message me on social media, or go to aklarge.com and reach out to Jesse. That is aklarge. You can reach out to Jesse and book your trip. I will personally be up there the end of May through the first half of June. So if you want to go fishing with me while I'm in Alaska, that's when I'll be up there. Now, on to Idaho. My really good buddy Joe over at Castaway Outfitters here in Coeur d'Alene is going to allow me the opportunity to guide under his outfitting permit here on the Coeur d'Alene River. So here in Idaho, I will be targeting primarily world-class cutthroat trout along with rainbow trout on the Coeur d'Alene River. It is one of the most scenic rivers in probably North America, but definitely one of the most scenic in Idaho. It is awesome. I love it. I've been fishing this river for years. I'm really excited to get out there with you guys. So if you want to learn how to fish with me here on the Coeur d'Alene River in Idaho, just head over to castawayflyshop.com and you can see all the info for that. You can again email me all of those things and I'll get you the details. We'll get you booked, and all bookings for that will be directly through Joe at Castaway, but we'll get you booked with me. It'll be a good time, folks. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I really appreciate you listening to me ramble on about guiding fly fishing trips this summer. I'm really excited. Thank you. See you later. Welcome to the Pursuing Freedom Outdoors podcast, a place where backcountry warriors can share their stories of grit, service, healing, and wilderness adventures. I'm your host, Tom Walton, Marine Corps veteran, full-time cop, and aspiring hunting and fishing guide. Join me and others as we journey from the hood to the woods in pursuit of freedom in the outdoors. All right, everybody. Welcome to the Pursuing Freedom Outdoors podcast. I'm your host, Tom Walton, and this is going to be a continuation of our fur and feathers spring turkey hunting and bear hunting series. So if you listened through February, you heard all the bear hunts, and now we've been, for a few episodes now, diving deep into turkey hunting. By the time this comes out, it should be March, somewhere about in March. And so you folks should be getting pretty close to being in the woods or already in the woods chasing turkeys. And we want you guys to be motivated, prepared to succeed and have a good time. So again, joined by John of Northwest Fur Chasers as my co-host. And today, as our guest, we have James Harrison on of Harrison Custom Calls. James is a contest caller since 1988 and has a combined 19 national, world, and grand national titles. He is the reigning U.S. Open and Masters Owls Hooting competition with a combined 20 Mid-American Open championships and 9 Grand Nationals call building titles, along with many state and regional championships. He hails from Hillsboro, Missouri. That talks all about his contest calling, but I could tell you from having hunted with James in the woods, he is an amazing turkey caller, amazing turkey hunter, and all-around great guy. So, James, thank you for joining us on the show tonight.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I never pass up an opportunity to talk about turkeys with good friends, so that's awesome.
Same here. Yeah, John, thanks for co-hosting again.
Absolutely. Appreciate being here, Tom.
All right, so diving into it, that was a mouthful of competition championships that you've gotten. So I want the listeners to hear all about you and where you come from and what you got going on. So why don't we just dive into what got you started in turkey hunting and how that transitioned to calling competitions.
Okay, yeah, and I was going to talk a little bit too when we started. John's been doing a lot of fishing, and we was going to talk about some spring squirrel hunting and stuff like that. So, John, if you want to jump on the fishing thing, let me Tell us what you got going.
Yeah, it's been really busy, but I think Tom's already caught on. He's kind of got that laugh and smile on his face.
Dude, he's already got us busted. So we had a plan. We had a plan when you started. We just talk about something totally off the subject and not even talk about the turkey stuff, just to mess with you a little bit. But obviously, you've caught on. He's too wise for us.
We're going to drag you deep into a hole of fishing and squirrel hunting and leave it there for about 20 minutes. You lost your minds.
Hey, you don't get me tempted with a good time. I'll talk squirrels and fish.
What the heck is going on?
I have no idea. But no, anyhow, I'm from Hillsboro, Missouri. I was born and raised there. Lived out in the country pretty much, just hunted and fished pretty much every day that I could do it when I was a kid growing up. I didn't have neighbors close and kids really my age, so I was just outside all the time. So it didn't matter if it was wintertime or spring or whatever. We were outside doing our thing, and animal noises kind of came to me naturally just because I heard everything from squirrels or turkeys or owls or anything like that. So, I mean, when you're a kid out there and you're in the woods, you mimic that stuff and do it when you're out there. So that's kind of where it all started at with that end of it. And then my uncle actually said, hey, there's a turkey calling contest in Piedmont, Missouri, which is down in southern Missouri in the Ozarks. And he's like, you got to come down and check it all out. I'm like, okay. Because he knew I was interested in turkey hunting, but my dad didn't really turkey hunt. So we just kind of curious about it. So I went down there and checked it out, and I was blown away because there was guys making turkey calls, animal, turkey noises. They were getting shotguns and money and trophies, and I'm like, dude, they got all that for making animal noises. I said, I'm in. I can do that, So I went back the next year and called in the wingbone division they had and took third place. And from that point, I was pretty much hooked. It's like, come on, we can do it. So I just started deep diving. Back then, you didn't have YouTube and all that stuff to look everything up. So you had to go to seminars or go to contests just to learn from other guys. So at that point, I dove head first into anything I could get turkey related or turkey hunting related or anything like that. So that's where that passion kind of started at and grew from there.
And that's such a heritage for you. I mean, compared to, we have some small contests out here that are just kind of a fun thing, but, it's still kind of a growing interest at this point in time compared to the heritage that's been back down. Like, what is the oldest contest currently running right now?
Oldest contest in the country is in Yellville, Arkansas, and it's the actual National Turkey Calling Championships. It's not the Grand Nationals, but it's the Nationals. So that was the original one. And the cool thing behind that one is I think Missouri holds the second oldest running contest, and it's Missouri's oldest contest. It's going on like it's 60, I want to say 62nd year this year. And that's coming up here at the end of February. So you got Yellville, Arkansas with the Nationals, and that's the oldest. I mean, Ben Rogers Lee won that. Preston Pittman, Ray I. You name any of the old guys that, the guys that brought it up, the pioneers, they all called in that contest and won it. And then now you got Missouri, and that contest is the same way. Anybody that's ever called in Missouri or around Missouri has called in that contest because it's been around forever. It's a staple. So I mean, we come by it natural because it's just what we was born up. Turkey hunting was just like, I guess out west, you guys, elk hunting and stuff like that. Turkeys to us was that and deer hunting was your two big things. That's what you did.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Some folks out here will tend to call turkeys more of a nuisance, which I disagree with. But yeah, John and I were talking to our other buddy earlier from South Carolina and just noting that it really is a cultural difference out here that it's just not part of who Western hunters are yet. I feel like it's growing, but I always enjoy listening to folks from southern and eastern states when it comes to talking about turkeys, just because you could just feel that lineage, that heritage of way back turkey hunting, I mean, as far back as people have been living in the South. So
oh yeah, and it's a passion. Like I was literally, so my favorite hunt, I always tell the story, my favorite hunt, it almost caused me not to ever turkey hunt again. And people are like, what are you talking about? I'm like, man, the first time I went turkey hunting, I was probably, maybe 9 or 10. And my dad took me out. It was pitch dark. I didn't know where I was going at the time. Had a little single shot 20 gauge shotgun, and I was toting it. And I remember that because we kept it unloaded. He let us carry it, but for gun safety, we'd always have it unloaded. So he'd follow behind us to make sure we was doing all of our hunters, all of our safety stuff right. So we're going out in the dark. I've got camouflage is down to my knees because back in the day, you didn't buy your kids camouflage. You used hand-me-downs or whatever. So we get out there, and the owls are hooting. And I hear some turkeys gobbling. I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. So we set up on this fence, and it's pitch dark, so I can't see nothing. And I right in front of us down there, I'm just so excited. And all of a sudden, I hear something behind me, and I don't know what it is. And all of a sudden, this steer, there's a field full of a bunch of steers in there. He ran his head right up in on me, trying to figure out what I was. And I mean, he was breathing on me. I jumped up and took off running. I was like, whatever it is, I'm out. I'm gone. So I was gone. Dad gets up, grabs me. The turkeys are still gobbling, by the way. And he gets me sit back down. He's like, that was just a cow, blah, 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 quit being a baby, all this. So I'm freaked out at that point because I'm like, you just had a cow almost kiss you in the ear. I'm sure I had slobber at some point on my ear because it was so close. And the turkeys are still gobbling. And I remember he's like, you need to call to him. You got to call him up. It was 3 Jakes is what it was. And I was calling, and I could not call. I didn't know how to turkey call. He's like, you know what they sound like. So I'm over there, boys calling. I sounded terrible. Well, they're gobbling. They fly down. I remember one comes in, and I'm telling you, it's like you black out. You were so excited. You had to beat on him. You pull the trigger. You think you see the turkey go down because you're so excited. You don't know what happened. And Dad jumps up. I jump up, and I run down there, and I shot the turkey. But it was just by dumb luck that whole hunt even worked out between the cows bellering and getting up in my face and me taking off running. And then Jakes were still, if that had been a long beard, he'd have been gone. But those Jakes just stood there on the limb and they kept gobbling at all of it. So it was kind of cool. But that was my first turkey hunt, and probably almost my last turkey hunt too, if it would have just kept going south. Because I've been like, this ain't for me. I'm going to stick to something else. So, because at the time I was ate up with fishing. So I could much rather fish and not have to worry about getting ate by a cow,
That's fair, man. Definitely don't want to get eaten by a cow.
No, and when you're 9 and it's dark out there and you've never been out in the woods and you don't know where you're at, and then all that happens and it's still dark out, you're thinking, oh, this is it. We're over. So you're freaking out on all that stuff. But it come look at it now, you laugh about it. You're like, man, that's never, I've been in the woods my whole life, and that has never happened to me ever again like that. And it was just that day, that morning hunt was so cool. So just one of those that's supposed to happen like that.
Right on. That's
those old memories.
Yeah, it is. So from then on, you grew up turkey hunting, got into calling. How does one get into competition calling now if someone wanted to get started?
Oh man, getting started now is so much easier because so let me back up a little bit. So I went to my first contest. I placed in it. I got hooked. At that time in Missouri and stuff, you would have 12 or 13 contests. Like every weekend there was a contest. So you could go all the time to a contest. Oh, yeah, that's how I learned and practiced, because I would take a tape recorder, listen to guys practicing and calling, and I'd tape recorder. I'd go home, I'd mimic them and stuff like that, and go that route. Nowadays, you have a lot fewer contests. Like Missouri's only having one contest this year, and that's the oldest one in the state. And me and my son Cody are helping put that one on, so we're trying to keep it alive and going. So that's the only contest in Missouri. So all these Missouri guys, that's your one. But now you got the internet. So you got Facebook, you got YouTube, you got all that stuff. So guys can literally say, I want to hear a flat out cackle of a turkey or a cutting of a hen or whatever. They can get on there and find out all the vocabularies of what the turkeys are doing, so they can practice right there in their room, at home. So I mean, they're and then once they figure that out, they go to a contest. Find where a contest that they go to and sign up. And the big thing after that's just really getting over the nerve part of it. That's the big thing. You get up on stage, you're going to get up in front of a lot of people, make a bunch of weird animal noises. Everybody's going to be nervous when they do it. I mean, that's just part of it. So once they learn how to control the nerves a little bit, I've called since 1989. Every time I call, even to the last time I called, I still get nervous and excited. And I think you should be that way, because if you ever get to the point where you're not, then you don't need to be doing it, because then it ain't doing it for you. So, that's how I think the young guys just need to get on the NWTF website, and you can go to like in your state and click on it, and it'll pull up a form that says, contest. So you can go there and see where the contests are at. If you get on Facebook, there's like turkey caller contest page, and go to places like that, and they'll post all the contest information there too. So it's real easy to find the information now. And now just, they've got all the vocabularies of the wild turkey and so many clips on YouTube and TikTok, and holy cow, man. you can sit there and listen to turkey calls and owl hoots for hours on end. Same way with elk calls or anything. So I mean, you could listen to elks bugling and cows calling all day. You know, it's everything's out there. So they really got a great advantage right now coming into it.
So much easier. Way.
Well, yeah.
And
Well,
then,
and two, the quality of the calls have gotten a lot better. So back in the day, you were running mouth calls. The guys were just learning how to build them and stretch them, and the pot calls were pretty rude. You know, they were good, but now guys have taken it to the next level where the box calls are absolutely phenomenal. The pot calls are good. The mouth calls, the material's so much better, and guys are learning how to stretch them and how to cut them. And I mean, it's really right now. It's a pinnacle. I mean, the guys are running now. I mean, you can't get no better than what they're doing right now. I mean, same way with the owl hooters or anything. I mean, it's just everybody's taking it to the next level where, man, you walk. So it used to be if you go to a contest in Missouri, you'd have like 20 guys that are calling. There would be 2 guys there usually that you were guaranteed those 2 guys were going to win that contest. Everybody else is calling for second, third, fourth, fifth place, whatever. Now you go to the Grand Nationals and you have 40 guys there and they take the top 12 in the finals. Out of that top 12, you've got a legitimate, 8 to 10 guys maybe. And I mean, just go out there and say all 12 guys could win that contest that day. That's how good the quality and the level of calling's got. It's really, really improved.
and so a typical contest, I mean, for a lot of people out here that don't get to see this or haven't seen it, I mean, what is it? You're going to get up there and they're going to tell you what calls you got to make, or you already know ahead of time? What would you expect to see happen?
Usually at the contest, so you'll have usually 5 to 7 judges. They're behind a curtain or underneath something where they can't see the caller. So the caller will go backstage before the contest and they will draw numbers and they'll pull a number out, and that's their calling position. So let's say you got 10 callers. Caller number 1 always calls twice. So caller number 1 is always a warm-up. So if you draw caller number 1, you get to draw again to get another number. So caller number 1 score does not count at all. It's just a warm-up. And then from there, most of the time, they have the calls ahead of time so you know what you're going to do. Most contests will do like 5 calls. So you'll have, let's say you got to do a tree yelp, a fly down cackle, assembly call, kiki run, and cutting. So you'll know those calls in advance. So they'll call them out in order. Some contests will give scenarios where you've got to do like 3 or 4 compulsory calls in that scenario, but they give you like a spring morning where you got to do the hit and yelp and fly out of the tree, do the whole 9 yards. So basically, you're just kind of like painting the picture like you'd be out hunting. But then the judges that are sitting up underneath there listening, they're listening for first off, mistakes. Second off, anything that doesn't sound like a natural, real turkey, rhythm-wise or air running across the call that makes it human and stuff like that. So that's what the judges are looking for. So basically, you're looking for the prettiest or the best turkey, sounds that you're hearing out there.
Yeah, not necessarily a hunting turkey as much as a specific bird for real.
Right. Yeah, because when you're out hunting, if you're calling and you slip a little bit, you just keep on going, and the turkey's he's still hammering at it. Where you do that on stage, you're like, he just slipped, and they're going to knock you down a point or something like that. So you want to have that perfect run when you're on stage. Same way with the owl hooting too. You want to get out there, hit the owl hooter. You want to make everything smooth and realistic and mellow up and get everything just right. You don't want to have any slips or anything like that in the owl hooting or the turkey call, any of that stuff.
Speaking of owl hooting, I mean, we know you're deep into that, but I'm just really curious because I never even asked you myself, James. I mean, you build owl hooters. Why? Where'd that start?
Man, so I used to so back in the day, everybody natural voiced owl hooted in competition. Nobody really ran a call or had a call. So everybody got up there, natural voice, did their whole routines. Well, Dale Palmer invented an owl hooter, designed an owl hooter, and it was a Palmer hoot tube. And Dale got the thing so good that when you go to a contest, the natural voice guys could not. I mean, you just couldn't keep up with him. He had it where it just made tones and sounds that the human body could, vocal cords could not do. And at that point, I was like, dude, if I'm going to keep owl hooting, calling these things, I need to build my own owl hooter. So I had 4 years of design development, trial and error, trying to get the owl hooter. And I mean, basically, I started with store-bought inserts, owl hooter guts that you would buy online, and then as far as wood, I worked in a machine shop, so we had a bunch of old brooms laying around. I would literally cut the handles off of brooms, drill them out on the lathe, and put my inserts in there and make my owl hooters. So out there running around still, there's 5 or 6 broom handle owl hooters that I built that I gave to my brother. One of my buddies I work with has got one. I've got a couple of them and stuff, but they're actual broom handles. Well, then I graduated up to going to the Lowe's and buying poplar dowel rods because they were already around, and started going from there. So I mean, it was just a trial and error. You go to a contest, you blow the call, it's close, but it's not good. Throw it in the trash, go back, build some more. And I finally got to where I was happy with it and went to a few contests. I actually went to the contest that Dale was at, and I handed him the first one, and I said, hey, man, take it apart, look at it, make sure I didn't copy your design, make sure you're good with it. Because that's one thing you don't want to do is copy somebody else's stuff. You don't want to. I never took one of his apart when I was designing mine. I was designing mine fresh because I wanted it to sound like what I wanted it to sound like. My owl, I had an owl in my head that I wanted that call to sound like. So that's how I came about that. So then once I built the owl hooter, started going to contests, I had a couple guys like, hey, man, give me an owl hooter. I'd like to try one. So I'd build one and, hey, check this out and try it, and check this out and try it. And then I got to a point I was like, I make some of these guys might start using them, and I'm enjoying making them. And it's kind of one of the things, the more you build of something like that, the better you get at it and the more you learn about it. So the more I was building them, I was learning while I was building them. So that's just kind of where it started at, and then just went from there. So now it's kind of, it was a blessing in disguise that I didn't realize was even a blessing until one day you're like, holy cow, that's awesome. We're building all these owl hooters and having fun with it, and guys are liking them. And so I had no intention of ever selling an owl hooter, to be honest with you. I was doing it just for competition. But then when I got to the point where I got them where I wanted them, I'm like, man, these guys could hunt with these things and really do good. And that's kind of where we started kind of angling that way. And it's been a blessing all the way through. I've been doing this since 2007. It's 2026 now. I can't honestly tell you how many owl hooters I've built over the years. I've built a lot of them. You go to the Grand Nationals of the world, and I mean, if there's 25 guys calling, there'll be 20 guys running my owl hooters, and that's awesome. I built guys the competition can call owl hooters. I want them just as good as my owl hooter or better, because man, those guys are running my stuff, and if they win or they beat me or if they win, that's a win for me too, because that was my pride that I let them. I built that call out of pride and joy. And they took it and ran with it, and man, they did great with it. So that's kind of where I'm at now. It's an awesome experience to be going through all this.
Heck yeah, what a great heritage.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's fun.
And I want to kind of come back to the owl hooters here in a little bit, but what other calls are you making too? Since we're on
I make
Harrison
an owl hooter, I make the crow call, then I do a owl scream and a pileated woodpecker call. That's my locator calls. I piddle around with coyote howlers, but a lot of times I'll do them on a diaphragm mouth call because they're just easy, convenient. I make deer grunters right now. I always build deer grunters. I piddle around with duck calls once in a while, but that's just a rabbit hole that I do not have time to dive into. I love building duck calls. I think the design of duck and geese calls are great. The whole tone boards and the things you can do to them to get the different sounds is really cool. I just don't get enough time because I stay busy building owl hooters and stuff pretty much all the time. But I do my deer grunters. I worked with Grant Woods. He's a wildlife biologist in southern Missouri. He has his own TV show, Growing Deer. I worked with him for about a year and a half on designing and developing the grunt call. And we were studying 3.5-year-old deer, 2.5-year-old deer, and actually, so my grunt call I build actually is made to mimic a 2.5-year-old deer, because a lot of guys that are out deer hunting, they just want to call it a deer. Not everybody's a trophy hunter. A lot of guys are weekend hunters and stuff like that. So they want to have success, whether it be a spike, whether it be a doe, whether it be a 150-inch buck. It don't matter. So that's kind of where we angled that grunt call at, was to mimic a 2.5-year-old deer, because that's just like a Jake and the turkey was. They're non-threatening. And if a dominant buck hears him, he's going to come in and investigate it or challenge him, or the young bucks will come in and challenge him. Those are not intimidated by him, so they'll come in. So, I mean, that's kind of where we went with the deer grunter. It does get deeper to do bigger bucks if you're targeting bucks. I've got holes on the side for snort with these, stuff like that. So, I mean, there's a lot of time in that grunt call, but it's just cool to do the vocalization of all the animals, whether it be the crow, the woodpecker, the turkey, the owl, whatever. It's all really fascinating to me.
Yeah, it's impressive. I got one of your grunt callers, and that soundboard, super secret, is pretty impressive. The sounds you can work through are so simplistically easy to do too.
Yeah, and when it comes to building calls, a lot of guys don't realize, man, when I build an owl hooter, I've got probably 8 to 12. No, I say 8 to 12. I know exactly how many I got. I got 12 steps. Sometimes I'll not count a couple, but 12 steps all the way just to get to my insert and have my insert ready to go. That's not the call itself. That's just getting the insert where I want it at. Then I put it in. Same way with the crow calls. Like I mold my own crow call inserts. Then from there I sand them. I do all my internal work on them and then put them together. So, I mean, and then on the reeds are the same way. There's 2 or 3 different steps that you do on reeds to get them ready to go for that crow call or that owl hooter or the deer grunter. So I mean, that's the difference between a production call and a custom call. We just got the time in them to make them sound like that, and you can because you're not building as many calls. That's the fun part of it.
Gotcha. Hey, folks, just wanted to take a quick break from the show to talk about my most recent partnership with a good friend of mine, Jake Collier, and his company, One Outdoors. One Outdoors provides a trusted place to purchase outdoor experiences, gear, and services. They aim to positively impact people and the environment by donating 10% of all of their net profits to Restoration Outdoors, a nonprofit, which in turn invests in mental health and conservation. One Outdoors offers trips around the globe, whether you're interested in hunting in Africa or fishing in Alaska, Patagonia, and more. They can customize your outdoor experiences and beyond just hunting and fishing to whitewater rafting, you name it, folks. If you can dream it up in the outdoors, One Outdoors can help make that dream come true. And I'm proud to be partnering with them and consulting on trips and hunts. So if you're interested in booking a trip of a lifetime with One Outdoors, you can reach me or reach out to me at thomas@pursuingfreedomoutdoors.com. It's thomas@pursuingfreedomoutdoors.com, or you can contact me directly through Instagram, Facebook, you name it. But One Outdoors, folks, really excited to be working with these guys. So thank you very much for listening to the Pursuing Freedom Outdoors podcast, and we'll get back to the show. So being a call maker and competition caller, how has that helped you, and how does that translate into the turkey woods as a hunter?
Oh, that's a great question right there, because competition caller, you hear a lot of times, oh man, he's a competition caller, this and that, but he don't do that in the woods. One of the biggest things that helps me, competition calling is that I practice a lot, I call a lot, so I can do a lot of different things on a mouth call and stuff like that. So it's helped me in the sense that, your basic concept of killing a turkey or deer is patience, 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 location, location, location. If you set up where a turkey wants to be and you're patient and you keep it simple, stupid is my process on killing turkeys and deer. You don't want to overdo it. But if I got a turkey that gets out there and doesn't do what I want him to do, a lot of times I know the turkey vocalization good enough. I'll just get on him and hammer him hard enough that I'll change his mind, or I'll try to change his mind and get him to do. Sometimes it doesn't work. Now, me and John had a hunt this spring with with Carter, and we had him 2 birds that were up in the tree that had a bunch of hens with him. So we were trying to call them hens off them gobblers, trying to call the gobblers off the hens. And we had to do a lot of real aggressive yelping, hen yelping, old boss hen yelping to get them gobblers to be like, we need to go to her. She's the dominant hen. Stuff like that. Yeah. So just when you competition call, you learn the vocabulary so good, and you know what the sounds are and when to do them. That helps you when you're hunting too. But awesome. I'll say that I'm from the Ozarks. Man, keep your mouth shut, your butt sitting still, and paying attention will kill a lot more turkeys than any competition calling will, just because that's the nature of the beast,
Yeah, you're not going to be as aggressive as you can out here. That's for sure.
No, yeah, and that's I've hunted all over the country, from Florida, you name it. I've been all over the place turkey hunting, and at the end of the day, they're still turkeys, and you can still call them up and shoot them, because a lot of people are like, oh man, them Osceolas, they don't gobble, or they're so hard-headed. Dude, I'll just straight cut to the bottom line. It's mating season. These turkeys are mating in the spring. They get it once a year. I'm going to hen talk that turkey into getting in, come in. He's going to come in. He wants to mate. He wants to breed. He wants to be in there. So, I mean, whether you're in Florida or whether you're in Washington or you're in South Carolina, Texas, it don't matter. They want to breed. They want to work. They're going to gobble and stuff like that. So, I mean, they're killable birds. Different areas is totally different tactics. In the Ozarks, you're soft talking them. You're really, really conservative on your setups and how you go about the birds. Like in Washington, where we was at, we were walking and you're breaking sticks and making noise, and it's like, man, it's okay. Don't worry about it. The turkeys ain't paying no attention to it. You did that in Missouri. Them birds have been gone so long. You just walking in the woods at that point because you ain't cutting turkeys. They're gone. So I mean, a lot of times in Missouri, we'll wait for the birds to fly down if we're hunting a bunch of timber. Let them get on the ground and actually start working wherever they're going to, and then we'll start working in the setup on them because I'm a 200-pound guy. I'm walking through the leaves at dark trying to get within 100 yards of turkey and then sitting down. That turkey heard me the whole time. Knew that's not normal. That's not right. Different areas is just, turkeys are turkeys. They're just, they live in their environment. So you just got to understand the environment, and the killing the turkeys and the calling the turkeys is the same. You just got to understand how to do it in that environment. I guess that's basically the way to say that.
Yeah, I mean, woodsmanship, 100%, and it's different in each state accordingly.
Yes. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And that's a good
100%.
point. Talking about noise, I had guys come out from the east, and I'm watching these guys tiptoe through the brush in the darkness of the night, and I'm like, we need to move a little faster in this. You don't need to worry about breaking sticks out here because we got elk, moose, everything walking around breaking sticks. That's a normal sound. They don't get that up front.
Oh yeah, that was when I was out there. It was the same thing. I was like, we can break. I was like, man, this is great. We just stomp it up through there. At the house, we'll go out. It's like my big peeve around the house, because we got a lot of fields and stuff like that, is you get out there early, get through them fields before it ever gets daylight. Make sure you can walk right past the turkey under the roost if it's dark and you're in a field situation like that, because I'll never know you're there. You're quiet. You're wood past them. Now in the woods, you can't get away with that. But in the field, but if it's starting to get that gray light and it's just starting to break good and you're walking across that field, that turkey's going to nail you just about every time. Yeah. And guys will get out there and stop at the edge of the field and they'll owl hoot or whatever they're going to do. And that turkey, if he's around close, he hears that sound, he's looking and he can see you standing there silhouetted. So, I mean, that's one big thing that I really pay attention. Even out in Washington, if we're going to set up and call to try to make a turkey gobble, anywhere I'm at, I want to make sure I'm beside a tree or somewhere that my silhouette's broken up, because I don't know how many times I've got on a bird, I stop and he's right there. And all you got to do is just melt into that tree and you're perfect. Where if you're standing in the middle of the road, he'd been like, nope, that's not him. Pew, he's gone. And it's just woodsmanship, like you said, is all that is. That's just hunting turkeys and spend a lot of time outdoors and knowing, I tell everybody I try to hunt a turkey like a coyote would hunt a turkey. I take the low spots in. I try never to be heard, never be seen. I want to set up on that bird. I really don't even want a turkey call to that turkey until I'm set up and ready to shoot him. Now, granted, sometimes you got to locate him and get him to gobble. But a lot of times I'd rather hit him with a crow call, owl hooter, woodpecker, something like that that's not turkey related. Because a lot of times, I think we had it that one time we were calling birds, got them gobbling, and we're walking to them and they're coming to us. And it's just like a head on crash. Boom, you're right there in the middle and you spook your birds or whatever happened. So I try to set up and not make a turkey sound until I'm ready to kill them at that point.
Good point.
Yeah, it makes sense, and I just was replaying the hunt that we were all on together when I shot that turkey that you called in here in Idaho, or as we like to let people know, in Maine. But when we were doing that, that was interesting because we kind of did everything. We started out, and I think had used some, because you did all the calling and it was amazing to watch. But you did some turkey sounds, but it seemed like you definitely were doing exactly what you're talking about. Using your locator calls, and then we tried to work the birds, but those birds were difficult. They probably had been pressured already, and it took, we ran into them on a logging road. We actually got eyes on them at one point without them seeing us. Thought they were going to come around the corner. Then they go up into the woods, and then we have to go figure out how to get in the woods. That was an interesting situation and took a lot of patience and a lot of moving. It was like all of the above on that one.
Yeah. That was a fun hunt because we literally was aggressive on them. Then we went to locator on them. Then once we got in at them, I don't think we ever got really in their bubble, John. I don't think we ever really got in their bubble, but we got close enough to it that finally, after 45 minutes of soft talking these birds, because that seemed to be what they wanted. They didn't want to hear the aggressive stuff. They didn't want to hear the cutting and the excited hen yelping. They wanted to hear the feeding and soft stuff. And that was more like a Missouri hunt there. We just called and just sat there and let them kind of curiosity kill that gobble. And that was a monster gobbler, by the way. He was the biggest one I think we see that whole trip. You ended it with the monster right there for sure. And you did good because that hunting situation was terrible. We're on the side of a hill, side of a mountain like this on a 45-degree angle just about. And if you didn't have your feet planted good, you sliding down a hill. I mean, it was a tough situation for anybody to sit still in and to pull off the shot that you did, because it was a tough hunt all the way around. You got it done.
Yeah, that was,
Yeah, it was good.
highlight of the season. It was pretty funny too, just talking about how long we waited. But we're waiting and waiting, and thankfully, John commented in the video, and folks that are listening can go watch this on Northwest Spur Chasers on YouTube. But I was really glad, one, that I had the 28 gauge and not a heavy 12 gauge in that situation, because it helped me stay up on gun a little longer. But I mean, even then, by the end of that, my legs and arms were going numb. I'm starting to shake, and not just from excitement, which definitely is a thing, but from just the getting tired of holding that shotgun up and waiting on those turkeys to come in. And it was pretty cool because, we watched the Jake and the hen kind of come first. And finally that Tom just gave us one chance. And the only mistake that he really made, besides coming in and being curious, was he just lifted his head up from behind a log to look. And all I saw was that head. And that's all you need, right? But that was a really fun hunt. That's for sure.
Yeah. 28 trauma, dude. And that's what we call
28 trauma. There was woodsmanship involved in that, though. Keep in mind, I mean, we didn't do what the typical hunter do. And that's something I always say is like, go out in the woods, hunt them, but try to think around what the average hunter is going to do and how he's going to approach them. And the move was going up the mountain, going across and getting above them and getting in on an angle that isn't where anyone other hunter was going to come from.
Right.
The good thing is I scouted that last year, so I knew what was in there. That's why I was like, it's open in there. We got to a good spot. And even though it was a difficult spot, it was a smart spot.
It was a turkey spot, put it like that. And that goes perfectly into play with when we're hunting the Ozarks and we're hunting on that public ground, and you pull up on a road and you pull he's down off in there. 99% of the guys are going to walk straight to that turkey, and that turkey's going to go down the other way and be gone. Where we'll look at it and be like, okay, we need to swing down the side of this saddle and come in from the backside and get below him and call like an actual hen would, and plus a lot of times, which that bird was already on the ground because that was an afternoon hunt we did there. But a lot of times in the morning hunts, if that bird was up there in the morning, that turkey heard every hen fly up in them woods. He knew where they, he would know where every hen was in that place. So your best bet on that bird would have been the same thing, but wait till they flew down and then come in, call him like a real turkey, like a hen that he didn't know was roosted somewhere there. And that would have been good. A lot of guys would try to sneak right up that draw to that bird and call it to him. This is the key. I never try to call turkey back to where he's been. So if I see turkeys going across the field, I don't go to where I see them at and try to call them back, because 99.999% of the time, they're never coming back. They're one-directional birds, and when they're going, you can get in front of them and work them. You can call them to the side, left and right.
Yeah.
But calling them back is I mean, it's tough. It happens, but I mean, it's super tough. So
it's pretty rare, yeah.
We seen that bird on the logging road, then he went up in the draw. If we went down the logging road and sat in that draw and tried to call that bird, he would have never killed that turkey. No,
not at all.
Would have still been sitting there, probably.
Side note to that spot too is, I ended up going back there later with my cousin who's in the Air Force, and he comes out occasionally in the springtime, and I'll take him turkey hunting. We went out there. If you remember that there was, I can't remember if we heard gobbles down there. I think we did. Or we had even spooked turkeys eventually, maybe down below us. But down below, it was real pretty. And it ended up, my cousin and I went down there in the dark one morning, and he shot a really nice big tom down in the bottom of that spot too. And we just went in on a different road, and which is actually cool. That morning too was the first morning I'd ever heard a barred owl hooting, besides you, James, in Idaho. And it was the first barred owl I'd ever heard in person.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. And then that barred owl and I started talking, and I kind of forgot about the turkeys. We did eventually. That was a tough morning. We made it work out really well and relatively quick. It definitely, kind of like our hunt, that was not an aggressive calling situation. That was a soft talk and sit and be patient and just trust that eventually they're going to wind their way over to us. But that was pretty fun. Yeah, it was a cool spot. They logged all that timber, by the way.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, it's gone.
Oh man, that's terrible. I hate that.
Man,
That's no good. The deer's gonna love it. I mean, it's going to grow up and they're going to have browse and bedding. And, the turkeys that are there, if there's any timber around there, the turkeys will use that edges for nesting and stuff like that. So, I mean, habitat we use it, but man, you hate to see something that pretty like that get cut down like that, but that's tough. But
Hey, everybody. I just want to take a quick break to thank you for listening to the Pursuing Freedom Outdoors podcast. And to thank you today, I want to offer you a discount at 360 Sportsman. Head over to 360sportsman.org now and use promo code PF15. That is PF15 to get 15% off your subscription to any of their master classes listed on the website. You can learn anything over there to improve your skills at hunting, fishing, trapping, snowmobiling. There's going to be first aid classes up there. They've got all kinds of stuff. There's even a how to build a house class coming. So anything you want to learn related to the outdoors or just making yourself a more knowledgeable human being, head over to 360sportsman.org. Use promo code PF to get 15% off any of their master classes. Want to thank you for listening to the Pursuing Freedom Outdoors podcast, and we'll get back to the show.
Back to your turkeys, you killed a big gobbler out there, later on and said it was the same way. That's one thing that, and I'm sure John will attest to it, is knowing what gobbler you're hunting makes a world of difference. If you've got a 2-year-old gobbler or a couple 2-year-old gobblers, you can do things that you would not do on a 4 or 5-year-old gobbler. So if you know you've got an old bird in there, you have to work him. It's the same way with shooting deer. You can go kill every 2.5 and 3.5-year-old deer out in the woods with relatively ease. But boy, if you're going after that 6.5-year-old deer, that's a whole other world right there. So that's you don't hunt that deer the same as you do the other ones. And the same way with them turkeys. When you're on an older bird, you have to hunt him like an older bird. He's been there, he's done it. It's spring to him. He doesn't mind if he's alone. He doesn't mind. I tell people that all the time. Gobblers don't care if they're by themselves. The hens will come to them. So I mean, he doesn't have to. He ain't gonna break and just run into you like a crazy, like a 2-year-old would, or a bunch of gag. You got a whole bunch of them together. So you just got to hunt the birds different, and that really knowing your turkey vocalization, not only on the hens but on the gobblers. When you hear that turkey gobble, and you know what he sounds like and can age him. That helps out a bunch. Now Missouri's tough because your Jakes dang near sound like your 2-year-olds, and man, I've heard Jakes that sound as good as any 4 and 5-year-old gobbler ever did. I mean, you hear him gobbling, you're like, oh man, that's a long beard. He comes walking in there and he's got little stubs sticking out. Then he gobbles and you're like, holy cow, So it's a little tougher, but out that way you could tell, your first-year toms, your second-year toms, third and through there, just by their voice and how they sound gobbling. So that's going to dictate how you call to them too. So and how you can move around them a lot more when you do that stuff like that too. If it's a younger bird.
Right. Yeah, this is actually the second time that's come up in conversation with John and I and a guest recently. So I just kind of want to ask too, from either one of you guys, how do you tell gobbles apart when you listen to a gobble? And you're like, oh yeah, that's a Jake, or oh yeah, that's Tom. Like, what are you guys listening for to age a bird?
You first, James.
You know what? Around the house here, I listen for the deepness and the bass in them gobbles. If it's an old bird, usually he's got a real thunderous coming in. Your Jakes will have that higher pitch, and they'll cut it off. 2-year-olds are kind of in the blend, but that's one funny thing about Missouri, though. You can have some birds that really gobble great, and they got. Man, because the Eastern turkey sounds nothing like a Merriam or nothing like a Rio. They're totally different gobbles. So Rhonda killed a bird last spring. I'd watch that bird all season. He would gobble once or twice in the morning, and that was it. And he could fly down the middle of his hayfield, and he'd walk up, and he'd get to his top, and he'd gobble once, and that dude would go about another 100 yards and gobble again. And I'm telling you, that's about all he gobbled. But he did not sound like a big bird at all. And that was it. But I watched him so many times, I knew it was a big bird, big old spurs on him and like that. But I mean, around here it's a little bit tougher. But I think out where you guys are at, I think it's a little bit easier, don't you say, John?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, there's always going to be a genetic variation in the mix. I'm never going to say this is exactly how it is. But in general, I would say for our birds out here, I mean, a good example is, the first bird we took in the Family Traditions series that we just put out with your son in the morning. You can hear probably 3 different age birds in that video in the beginning. In the beginning, we're listening to a Jake in the distance, and we were definitely listening to maybe a first-year Tom, blowhard at the same time. And that went on for a little while, and then all of a sudden, we all opened our eyes when that one bigger bird fired off. Yep. You could hear not only the roll on the back of it, you can hear the separation in the gobble and the depth at the same time. You're like, okay, that's a nice bird there. Yep. And that roll will get longer the older they are out here. What I find, I'll sit and listen to birds throughout valleys, and it's not hard to pick out, well, there's a big mature bird out there. He's definitely got age on him because he's got a lot more air inside and he's pumping out. What I like to say is that boy just crawled up here from Georgia because he's got a nice roll on the back end that just keeps going. It don't just fall off anywhere. It stops when he wants to stop it.
He came for business now.
Yeah.
He's ready.
Yeah. I don't have as much experience as you fellas, but I could tell you in the years that I've got under my belt now, when I hear that gobble, I know it, right? And I'm sure you guys know too. I mean, there's just something special about an old bird, a big bird with that big thunderous gobble that just lasts forever. I can't tell you how many times John and I were like, yep, that one right there.
Yep. Let's go after that one. Skip the ones that are close by. They're going to run in on top of you. Let's go after that trophy up there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's and I mean, I gotta get you guys out one of these days. Well, and you, Thomas, you've been to Arkansas and stuff. I don't know if you've been in there turkey hunting in the spring or not, but man, you get in the Ozark Mountains and you get a big old gobbler that's 26 pounds and he gobbles and you're in them timber with all that timber around you. And man, when he hits it, your chest will literally vibrate because it sounds like that. And when you hear him spitting and drumming, yeah. And I mean, you can hear it from 60 yards out coming in. And I mean, I've been all over and heard a lot of turkeys gobble from Florida all the way through up. But man, them timber gobblers, we call them, Ozark timber gobblers, they've got every time they do it, I can just, woof, woof, woof. Let's go. I can be wore out with 2 broke ankles, and if he gobbles up the next ridge, I'm going to get him. I don't care if I got to crawl. I'm going to go do it. It's just how it is. I mean, John dang near killed me the first trip out there. I mean, I was on weight loss. By the time I was over, it was bad, dude. It was bad. I'm glad you're in shape, Tom, way better than me. But that first trip out there, I mean, he almost killed me. I mean, I looked like a Survivor patient after watching Survivor for 28 days. I lost body mass. I was down skinny. I mean, my belly button was rubbing my backbone. It was a brutal situation, but we did.
It was bad. And I had to use the old one on him. I had to say, I'm taking young girls in this spot. I know it's a long walk for you.
Hold on a second. No. We got to tell the story. So he's like, man, it's hot. We're walking up this old road. And he's like, I took a girl up here youth season, and we walked in here and killed this big old gobbler, and we're dying going up this hill. It's hot. It was hot that day though, and this was on day like 4 or whatever. He just kept saying, "Yeah, hey, I took that girl up there and stuff like that." I'm like, "Dude, shaming me, it ain't helping." But when we do that for 4 days, we had like almost 40 something miles on. We covered some ground.
These guys came in on a pressure change. I mean, you landed the day we went from I think it was the high of 51 right into the high of 76. I mean, the day you guys got there, and I'm like, this is going to be rough. And it was rough. I mean, not that we didn't hear birds, but they didn't care about much.
No, you know, that first place we hunted, we had some epic, and I'm sure you got it on video. We had epic hint talk in the trees and stuff like that. And we should have killed the bird that morning. I feel like, if the guy wanted to shot one, he could have just stood up and just walked to the edge and shot that turkey and killed him. But I mean, we had great hunts, even though we wasn't killing nothing. We were still working birds. So I mean, it wasn't bad at all. And then
we were trying to do a traditional. You wanted to see him come in. I mean, there was a couple times we could have walked over the ridge and shot the bird, but you're looking for a better game than that. Should have shot the one the first night you and I went out.
Yeah, no, that was crazy. And I was overwhelmed that night because we're seeing wolf tracks and we're seeing all sorts of stuff. And I was on sensory overload, man. I was just like a kid in a candy store, like this is great.
Yeah, at the same time, you're like, this bird is 10 yards in front of me and I can't see nothing.
Yeah, I had my old howitzer 12 gauge. If I could have caught a head, I'd have took him out, but I just couldn't catch him.
That's the thickness sometimes. Like elk hunting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Man, you guys elk hunting out there going through that stuff. I'm just hats off. You got it. I hunted so much this year deer season that the Girl Scouts sent me a wildlife observation badge because I never shot a deer for so long. I just kept looking at him and Ron was like, "Are you even hunting? Or are you just going out there?" I said, "Well, I'm hunting, but I'm just being real selective. Like they've got to almost climb in the side by side with me. Then I'm gonna shoot them because I was just being selective. But I mean, that's the same way with turkey. And you want the show. You want them to come in. You want them to display, do the strutting and stuff like that, and see the colors. And man, that trip we got a lot of action. It was really good. This last trip was phenomenal. I mean,
Yeah.
you couldn't ask for a better trip as far as just gobbling. They were acting right. And I always say you could take two 2x4s and slap them together and call up a turkey that day because that's how they were working, you know. But
It was that good.
it was good. And then I came back home. Missouri season opened. I took Rhonda out opening morning. She killed the gobbler that I wanted her, killed a big old gobbler. Came in 20 yards. She dusted it with the 28. It was beautiful.
Nice.
I mean, and that was the highlight of my trip. My goal was get her to kill one because she just started hunting when she turned 50. She's like, hey, I want to go turkey hunting. I'm like, dude, I'm ready anytime. So she's been with me every year she's gone, and I'm always make sure try to get her on a bird, kill birds and stuff. And we're having a blast doing that. And she's deer hunting. She shot a big old buck this fall. That's her third turkey. So she's loving it. So I'm having fun now because when you take kids out, you love taking kids out and taking your kids out and you're hunting with them and you're bonding and you're showing them stuff. And now Rhonda is enjoying it, so she's getting to go out there to see all the sunrises and all the sunsets and seeing the coyotes and seeing the stuff that you would normally not see. And to me, that's just I'm reliving I'm having fun again now because I'm taking her out. I don't care if I shoot another turkey or deer as long as she's out there hunting and shooting turkeys. That's what I think's fun now. So for me,
that's fantastic. Yeah, without a doubt.
It's anytime you can get the family going and stuff like that, it's a blessing because we have a great time. We're sitting out there in a deer blind, and if nothing's happening, you know what we do? We're talking, having a conversation. That's unplugging, talking, having fun. No social media, no nothing like that. And that's hey, I'll take it every day if I can get it.
Yeah, it's so true.
I was going to ask, and I'm sorry, Tom, you got something to say first?
Yeah, just going to say it's really resonates too. Like this year, my wife had a cow elk tag that had a pretty long season. And so we decided to dive into it and hunt as hard as we could. And we wanted to hunt early just because, she's a fair weather hunter if she can help it. And she didn't want to hunt once it got real cold, which it never did this year. But, what ended up happening was that she was more motivated for a whole bunch of reasons to go hunting, more motivated than she normally is. Because for her, it's usually kind of like she likes it. She likes the sunrises and the sunsets and the animals, but it's usually more of like she'll go once or twice, if she gets a deer, great. This year, she was really a lot more into it, and we just had such a good time spending that quality time together, even just the drives to and from our hunting spots, and the whole time it was just fun. We really enjoyed that experience together, and we got our
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You did see Dawn finally tag hers, right?
Oh yeah. And that's a blast. I mean, it's a great time if you can take the kids out and the wife goes out and stuff like that. It's a good time. I enjoy it and it's fun. And you know what? We love deer hunting and we'll go out and set. And Rhonda, a lot of times will go out with me bow hunting and set. And she ain't even hunting. She's just going with me. So just to hang out with me and chat and just spend the time together. So, I mean, it's a blast doing that. So, I mean, it's the same way with kids. I love I got two grandkids. One's 5 and the other one's only like 11 months, so he's got ways to go. But the 5-year-old, I took her out this year and I shot a doe. She went with me and watched it and all that stuff, so it won't be long. She'll be up on the gun, and man, at that point Paul is taking over, and she's gonna be my girl. We're gonna go hunting all the time, so
there you go. Yep, that's
I'll be like,
gonna be great.
Get ready, we're going hunting. I'm picking you up in about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So, well, and she's 6. She runs a trap line with us. I mean, she goes fishing with us. It doesn't matter. I mean, Lord help her, she's getting raised by a bunch of redneck hunters, so she's gonna have to do it because there's no other choice in this situation, But she's a
Those are the best of times.
Oh yeah, and you know what? It's new eyes seeing new things for the first time. That's awesome because even when I'm out hunting with you guys, me and Cody was hunting this spring down in Toasty on this big old chunk of public ground. We're way down in there. I mean, dude, we're down in there. I don't even know. And I see a box turtle, and I always stop and I looked at Cody. I said, "Hey, take a second, look at that turtle, please." Like, what's up with that turtle? I said, "You know what? You might be the only person that's ever seen that turtle in its existence." I said, "I just think that's cool to be out in the woods and see stuff that you may never see again." And in that moment, you just take it in and enjoy it for what it is, and keep on going. And so it's a blast.
Yeah.
I enjoy the hunt. almost more than I enjoy the shooting the animal. Shooting the animal is just icing on the cake. That's the part of it we're out there doing. But man, even with me and Johnson, we're having a blast. And even with you, we were having fun just talking and walking and getting to know each other and spending time together and working the birds and watching you and watching John work the birds. That I'm learning the whole time. So anytime I'm out with anybody, I'm watching what they're doing. I'm learning what they're doing because I can learn from John. I can learn from you, Tom. I can learn from both of you guys. So that's what I enjoy about the hunt. And I just, the scenery and where we're at. And, I literally take every hunt as, you should literally treat every hunt like your last hunt because you never know what it is and you want to enjoy that stuff, So that's what I look at it all the time now. So I just, when I was a kid, I was gone every day, man, hunting, fishing, killing squirrels, killing turkey. It didn't matter. We was gone. And I think you were just there because you were young, you were wanting to kill things, and you wasn't. Now I'm gotten older, and John, I'm sure you're like me. I pay attention to all the little details now that I never used to before that I think's really cool. So that's fun.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just walk around sometimes on filming flowers, getting down on my knees and putting the camera down there on the pedals, and I'm just like, that's so beautiful. I just can't pass this up. I got to look at the color of the moss on that log and the way it's reflecting in the sun. I mean, you could spend all day doing that.
As we were talking about that, and I'm looking on my phone because when we were out this spring, I was doing the same thing. I was taking pictures of moss on the rocks, and I was taking pictures of flowers and stuff like that because I thought it was so cool. Because I'm like, dude, I'm never going to be back to that exact spot again to see that thing right there. So I just enjoy it and take it in for what it is. So
yeah,
all right, I'm sidetracking this whole conversation.
No, I mean, it's so true. I get distracted all the time. And one of my favorite things about kind of turkey hunting too is in the spring is just there's so much wildlife out moving. Things are coming to life. It's green. It's beautiful. And, we're always running into animals like elk and moose, which moose aren't always pleasant as elk, but we're always running into moose and elk and other animals. John and we got distracted by a couple of rattlesnakes this last spring. And gosh, I mean, just so much going on in the spring that it's not just the turkeys, even though they're the main show. There's just a lot to just take in and enjoy and, feeling the warm sun on your face after a long winter. And it's beautiful. It's perfect time of year.
And when I was hunting with Cody and Carter, when they were little, I would take, I'd have my turkey call stuff, and I wanted them to shoot turkey. I'd take a bag, have snacks in it, and mid-morning, if the turkeys were gobbling, man, we'd walk around and find a monkey vine on a tree, and I'd cut the bottom of it and let him swing on that thing for as long as he wanted. And if we were hunting by a creek, we'd get in there and look for crawdads or whatever. We were just enjoying it all. And then all of a sudden, you hear a turkey gobble somewhere. Hey, there's a turkey gobble. Let's go chase him. Stuff like that. So just enjoy it.
That's smart too as a dad. I mean, I'll say this for all dads out there listening, and a lot of dads make this mistake. I almost did at times, but anything you can do to make it fun for kids. I mean, you pay attention to them as much as you want to drag them into the hunt. The biggest thing is to look for opportunities for them to just have fun. And that might mean throwing rocks in the water. It might mean climbing on rocks and ignoring the bird. Because if you just spend a little bit of time with them having fun on those hunts, they'll always want to go hunting with you later on. I guarantee you.
Oh, yeah. Make it special for them. Stop at the gas station on the way out there and get a special treat that you normally wouldn't get. Go out there, have fun. Like when Cody and Carter was little, I always let them run the calls and stuff because I didn't, if they spooked the turkey or anything, I wanted them to learn and have it be a part of it. I didn't want them to be like, you just sit there and just don't move. And, I wanted them to have fun too. Now, as they got older and they got more serious about it, then, okay, all right, you guys gun up, get ready to go. But I mean, before that, I was just having fun with them. And same way with deer hunting. I think Cody learned his multiplication facts in the ground blind. Carter, I think, I don't know, well, we colored, we did everything. I mean, we just had a good time. And, deer hunting we were deer hunting, but we were having fun. We wasn't, if it was cold that morning and they didn't want to get out early, I didn't say, oh, you got to go. I'd be like, all right, let's go about 9 o'clock and we can go eat breakfast and then go out, So just have fun with them. And the best advice I can give on a father-son hunt or you guys got a youth hunt coming up. I know that. Any of the guys that are with the kids and they're going to set that up, man, make sure you get eye level with them kids and see what they're seeing because so many times you'll call a turkey in and they'll be like, shoot it. And they're like, I can't see it. and you're a foot and a half above them, and you can see it, but they can't. So that was my only thing. I always made sure I would almost set Carter up and Cody, and I would almost lay on my side so I was the same height as them, so I could see the same thing they were seeing, just so I could help them and stuff like that. But yeah, your guys' youth hunt's coming up when? Pretty quick, ain't it?
Yeah, it's always during the Idaho youth season, which is the week preceding our general opener. So this year, our camp is going to be the April 9th through the 12th. It'll be a good it'll be a good weekend. And I call it a camp because usually we do a camp, like a camp with tents and stuff. This year is we're going to be living in luxury because we're going to be doing it at our Protector's Peak Lodge out here in North Idaho, in the St. Mary's, St. Joe River area. So the folks coming out for this year are going to be getting top-notch food, more than they can eat, which I think we've always done good on the food, especially this year, man. Mike had stepped up this last year and just crushed the cooking. It was so good, man. Mike's a good cook. He's invited as camp cook all the time, but we definitely want to get him on a bird too. And he's got his boy here is going to be old enough. Second son is going to be old enough to be joining us on these youth hunts here pretty soon before we know it. So that'll be a lot of fun. And I'm sure he'll get his daughters out there too. But yeah, this year you have to. Yeah, I was going to extend the invite. Yeah, we would love it so much. And then the lodging situation this year is going to be unreal. I mean, it's going to be in our lodge, which is getting new carpet today. And it's big. It's a log cabin. The views are amazing. It's a great place to just sit back and relax and drink coffee. But it's right in the middle of turkey country, elk country, bear country, wolf country. I mean, everything's out there. It's beautiful. It's going to be a good year, and I think I'm going to encourage some people to bring some fishing licenses just on the off chance we tag out quick.
Yeah.
Good deal. Well, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn. I'll say this, but I talked to Guy Rubel out there, and I think he's donating some calls to the youth hunt, and he contacted a bunch of other call makers, and they're donating calls. I'm donating to Owl Hooters. And so we're hopefully the kids will have a good lineup of really good calls that they can use for years to come and have a good time. And that's really cool to be able to be. I won't be there, but I'm going to send some Owl Hooters, and if I can get some crow calls done, I'll send crow calls and get them things out there in them kids' hands and just let them go crazy with it and have fun. So that's cool. So I do miss the youth aspect because the kids are grown now, and it's as a dad, and John, you've been with me on this. You took them every day hunting, and then they start hunting on their own a little bit, and they're hunting with their buddies, and they're on their own, and pretty soon they're hunting, and they're going, and you're at home or whatever. So you kind of separate. So now when I get to hunt with them, I get pretty excited about it just because you get to bring. I don't know if they understand it as much as we understand it, but it's a joy for us to get out there with them again and hunt with them because I missed all those times of going with them. I like hunting by myself, but I really enjoy the times when I get to go with them now because they're grown adults and they're busy and stuff like that. So it's always fun when you can hook back up and go have fun, So you guys are making some great memories out there.
Yeah, that was real special watching you and Carter. I just got to sit back and run the camera mostly. Although you did too. Thank you very much, James. Yeah, that's right.
I thought those episodes were like abnormally good camera work too. I had no idea.
I mean, that turkey in the road coming up and the footage with the shooter, John Wick. What have you done?
Yeah.
And the turkey, I mean, I was expecting to at least get like a Golden Moose or an Oscar or some kind of cinematic award. I was expecting something in the mail. I really was, but I mean, it didn't happen. But hey, there's next year.
You need to book yourself in right now for the next youth camp. There's the thought.
Yeah. Well,
you can.
Yeah, you're welcome to come out this year. Somehow you had the time last minute, but I can't imagine a year we won't be doing a youth turkey hunt. I mean, we've always done our veterans and camps, and then we did that veterans youth camp last year. This year's we're gearing it towards first responders and their kids. So, I mean, as of now, I've got 2 for sure law enforcement guys from Washington State bringing their kids out, and I have another guy from Idaho tentatively who's going to bring a kid out, and then I've got a fireman from the west side of Washington who was a SWAT medic as well. So he's got that
Nice.
fire service with a law enforcement connection. Hopefully he's going to bring his kiddo out. So
That'd be awesome. Well, give me a couple
Yeah,
of years.
really-
And Cody can come out. He's paramedic. He can bring Savannah out, and then two can go run rampant.
That'd be
always welcome. I mean, we're
Hillbillies in the mountains, boys. Watch out.
there. You go. Yeah, I love it. You guys always got an open invite, especially if you want to come out to that event. It is a kick in the pants, and it's always going to be that like second week of April, so it's easy to plan for.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
I'll definitely get you on the Owl Hooters and stuff when I get them made and head your way. And then, yeah, I guess the biggest thing we got, like in another week or two, me and John's going to be in Nashville, Tennessee at the NWTF convention. Chaos in a dome, you know, we call it Nash Vegas. It's 3 days of 90,000 people talking turkeys, shaking hands, kissing babies, you know, running for president. It's John Zephyrs experiences, and he probably thinks I'm making a lot of this up. By Saturday night, he's going to realize that he just went through a spin cycle and came out the other side, because it is a whirlwind blast, good time, and I'm looking forward to that. And it's going to be fun. I mean, Thomas, you got to get down there one year just to check it out. I mean, it's a great experience. It's a great place. Good stuff. NTF, National Wild Turkey Federation, always, you know, doing a lot for the kids, the turkey stuff like that. So that's always a good thing. And then John's going to be there this year. It's going to be him and Don's going to be there. So that's excited. I can get to hang out with them guys. I'll be at the Foxtrot booth. I got a bunch of Owl Hooters and stuff like that, and go from there. And so it'll be a good show all the way around. I'm going to have I just partnered up with Jonathan McNeese. I got a shirt on here. I just haven't been wearing it. He's a custom knife maker. So I partnered up with him this year and doing some knife stuff. So I'm gonna have some knives down there to show guys and stuff like that. So it's a great time to be down there and hang out with like-minded people and have fun. So
I'm
Sounds
looking
like a
forward to definitely looking forward to shaking hands and trying not to get sick.
yeah, the crud will be there for sure. I went to
Yeah, I
Unit
heard about
in
that.
January, and as a custom call builder show in Helen, Georgia, and I came back, and about the third day, I was like, and I've been doing everything, and I still got a head cold, sinuses, just dragging behind it. But I mean, you see that many people, sooner or later, you're going to get something. So I mean, it is what it is.
I'm just
But
gonna
it's
slip through.
great time.
Yeah, it's like the first week at school. Yeah, that's
Yes.
awesome. And James, before we go, speaking of Hooters, I want to put you on the spot, man. Do you got access to a Hooter and a crow call that maybe we could hear?
I don't even have any, dude. Like squirrel bark. Oh, dude, talk about hooters, man. I've got them everywhere. This time of year, I got them everywhere. I've got them in the living room. I got them in the kitchen on the table. I got them in the dining room on the other table. I've got them all over the place. So I've got
Everywhere.
I've got a couple here, right here. So, what do you want to hear first, Crow? It might be loud on these speakers, so I'm gonna, you know, if it comes across static or something, let me know. But I'll try to kind of lightly blow the crow call here a little bit and
All
Best
right.
crow call ever.
come across okay.
That came across great.
Oh, did it? Okay, good. Owl Hooters, same way. This is my torpedo style. So this is a newer style. Let me see what I got back. Hold on. I'm turning around. I got more. This is great TV action. Turn around. So this is my original style Owl Hooter. So 2007, when I built these, this was my first one I built. This is out of Osage. Glued up, doesn't come apart. It's got a nice mellow like that. The torpedo's a little bit shorter, you can tell. And it comes apart, so you can take it apart, clean it. So how'd that sound? All right.
Good, man.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I always worry about the speakers on these little computers and stuff. I don't know what what they're going to take or what they're going to sound like from there. So,
Oh, it sounded great, man. And there's something about owl hoots. I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but something about owl hoots just gets me.
it's just the mellowing effect and sound of the tone of the owl and the roll and how they put it together. And they're so smooth and calm. I think that's a big thing. That just it's a sound that's it's pleasing to the ear. There's nothing offensive to it. Like you hear a crow and it's sharp and it's brassy and aggressive, and you hear a woodpecker and it's loud and aggressive. Where an owl is just mellow and smooth, and you can hear all those little rolls in there. So it's just got a good sound to it.
Well,
Heck
it helps
yeah.
when you're behind it.
It does.
Yeah.
The pro.
Well, I got to tell
How
you,
does-
I had a boring childhood, so I talk to animals all the time. And if you build as many as I have, you better be able to sound like the owl. So that's what I do.
No
All right.
kidding.
James Harrison, how does somebody get a hold of some of those calls?
Man, you know what? I'm on Facebook, Harrison Custom Calls, or I got my personal page, James Harrison, there. Then my email, you can put it is just jharrisoncalls@gmail. .com, basically. Pretty simple. But Facebook's probably the easiest. I am on Instagram. I know a lot of you guys are big Instagram guys, and I'm not much on Instagram, but I am on there. But Facebook's my main thing. Just Harrison Custom Calls or James Harrison. I also work with Phelps Game Calls and got a couple of hooters out with those guys, and I build all those out hooters too as well. And they sell them on their website. And I got a couple new mouth calls coming out with them guys this year. So there's a couple places you can get them at. And then like Nashville, I'll be down there and I'll be at the booth. I'll have owl hooters, crow calls, all 9 yards. I just got in a bunch of new hats for the show. I've got a bunch of T-shirts getting made. I've got some new stickers to give out because all the kids like stickers and stuff like that. I was going to do temporary tattoos and have all the kids run around with like temporary Harrison neck tattoos, but I didn't know if their mom and dad let them have that or not. But I thought it'd be cool to tat all them kids up with a neck tattoo of the old angry owl there, So, but we just went with stickers.
Man, I can tell you, my granddaughter loves tattoos. I brought her a bunch of little. Last time we went to Arkansas, we have sheriff stars stickers, and they decided to do tattoos for the sheriff's badge. So I brought her a whole bunch of sheriff badge tattoos. Man,
That's awesome.
It was like she went to school like my papa's a police officer, and he gave me tattoos showing all her friends. I just loved it, man. But yeah, she loves the tattoos. So that's what you made me think. I'm like, I could just see those owl eye tattoo on her little arm.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do that now, man. Every kid at the school like right on the side of their neck or something like that. That's enough. Look like a prison thing going on with all neck tattoos.
That'd be
Yeah,
hilarious.
we might as well. What's that?
We can get John.
That'd be hilarious. You gotta do that.
We get John says the legend. Spur chaser. We got. I mean, dude, we have fun with that. So I want to shout out real quick, Tom. But you get to hunt with John a lot, and I've got to hunt with John a couple times and know him. But man, you talk about, and I'm just gonna give you kudos, John. I've hunted with a lot of guys, but man, me and John, we hit it off like peas and carrots, And
Yeah.
I've hunted a lot of turkeys, and I've killed a lot of turkeys, and I've killed a lot of deer, and I've hunted a lot. And man, when I'm with John, I'm constantly watching and learning because he is a true woodsman and sportsman, and that's man, you are lucky to have that guy out there with you all the time because man, you guys don't know how blessed you are to have somebody like that on your side because that's hey, hats off to you because man, you may be a better hunter, and I appreciate it. And I really do mean that because I get out there anytime I get with you. I don't want a turkey call because you know what? We're out there the first time we hunted together, and I'm turkey. And he puts a mouth call and starts calling. And I'm like, why am I calling? Why am I calling? Why ain't you calling too, dude? Because he calls just as good. Don't let him fool you. And so, I mean, it was next time I come out, I'm not going to call or nothing. I'm just going to go and let you do all of it because I want to listen to you do it because I know you can do it just as good as I can. So it's awesome.
You are very generous and very kind, my friend.
No,
I can tell you,
I do mean that though. So you guys are.
I can tell you on the John's on the John side of it, while we're making John blush,
Yes.
I definitely know I'm blessed because before getting an opportunity to hunt with John, I was on the struggle bus when it came to, turkeys and even other game species, just because John's a well-rounded woodsman and has a lot of knowledge to offer. And I've learned a ton following him around the woods, and I'm absolutely blessed to have had my learning curve shortened, and even more than just the time that he's helped mentor me in the turkey woods, which has been a huge blessing. John has been a life mentor, spiritual mentor, and blessed to call you a friend, buddy. That's for dang sure. And James, I'm gonna go right at you too. Instantly knew we were kindred spirits. Love hanging out with you when you were here. I can't wait to get an opportunity to either hang out with you, hunt again. Either way, I mean, you're a great fella. I really appreciated your kindness and generosity with your time when you were out here. So, and your time with this podcast too.
We could sit here and talk all night, just like we'd be sitting on the couch talking to each other all night. I mean, it'd be the most boring podcast because we'd be sitting here cutting up and having a good time. But when I was out there with you guys, it was my honor to take you hunting, and I didn't take you. I mean, I just went along with you. I just tagged along. You guys are going, but man, you guys let me take the lead and call and work, and I appreciate that. But man, it was a blast. It was, you know what? I appreciate all you do and your services, and if I can do just a little bit to give back to that, man, that means the world to me. So that's where I'm at with it.
I appreciate it
God's
so
been very
much.
good to all of us, and bringing us all together it's a blessing without a doubt. We're very thankful. I am very thankful.
Heck yeah, me and you too. Me and you
Amen.
both on that. Yes.
Well, shoot, fellas, it's been a great time, a great show. I'm sure we'll cross paths again, not just on the podcast, but I'm looking forward to the next one. Before we sign off, John, any closing thoughts?
No, there's lots of questions I always want to ask as we go along the way, but we're at the very end of it. If I open up another question now, it's gonna hold us here for another 10, 15 minutes easy. So
We might have to have a podcast part 2 so we can actually get to the most of the questions, because we were just cutting around having fun tonight. So I
know.
I'm sure there's a lot of questions we still need to cover on. Yeah, I mean, just we could go into call care, we could go into what's in the turkey bags, what's in the we still got a lot of stuff to cover. That's for sure.
I think we can get into details on diaphragms, all kinds of fun stuff.
Oh no, for real, Thomas, if you wanted to do that, just let me know. We can do one again, next month or whatever you want to do it, and we'll stick to more of the the basics of, hey man, how do you run a crow collar? How do you run a mouth call and stuff like that? And we can go over all that. That would be no problem at all.
Well, I think we just teased up the listeners so much, it's gonna just have to happen. So we'll schedule that one offline here for the next week or so it'll drop in accordance with this one. I have no issue with that, man. I love the content. I love talking to you guys, and I think that's a great direction to take it. So we'll do that for sure.
Yeah, we'll get John trying out different Facebook masks, and we'll get one that just covers most of it, and that one we'll pick.
Absolutely.
That's a mess. But no, hey, let's just schedule that and do it offline. We'll get it all figured out, and then we'll literally just sit down and talk about turkey calls, care of them, what we do with them, how we run them, how to start them from the beginner all the way up through. So that way we can help your listeners, pick out calls and go that route. Because that's a whole nother hour podcast just in itself on that,
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, stay tuned for that one coming up next, folks. And James, before we part ways on this episode, any closing thoughts, wisdom, or maybe a hot tip or tactic that you want to share with the listeners before we go?
Man, I'll keep it with turkey hunting. Turkeys can't tell time. They don't have jobs. They don't rush to work. Man, be patient. Be patient. You're on the turkey time. Get out there and enjoy it and hunt. And you know what? If you don't kill a turkey that day, it ain't a lost day. It was a great day out in God's creation. And my biggest thing I always preach to everybody is be patient. And please be safe when you're hunting. It's not like catch and release. Once you pull the trigger, you don't get it back. Make sure you know what you're shooting at. And just have patience and have fun. And turkey hunting is literally a waiting patience game. As you get older, you learn that more with turkeys. And just have fun and be patient and be safe and have at it.
All right, love it. That's
buy an owl hooter. That's what we need. Buy an owl hooter.
Yeah, there's a hot tip. Buy an owl hooter.
Buy an owl hooter.
They're good to use. They work quite well.
Yeah, there you go.
Patience and owl hooters. Yeah, I've heard that I've heard just having one of James's owl hooters in your pocket levels up your game without even using it.
Oh yeah. It's a must.
The minute they know they're there, it's gig up.
Oh man. All right, boys. Well, I love it. Thank you so much for the show. Fellows, we'll definitely be talking next week. And for the listeners, I'm excited that we get to do a part 2. So we'll catch you guys next time. Thank you. All right.
We'll be next time. We'll get all serious and stuff.
Before we get started, I want to thank our first partner, Response Ready Medical. Response Ready Medical, bringing our customers the best quality training and equipment for the worst case scenario. Response Ready Medical's vision is to be the leading provider of emergency preparedness solutions across the United States, empowering communities, organizations, and individuals to respond confidently and preserve life during critical moments. Offering same-day certification, all Response Ready Medical classes are instructed by nationally registered and state-licensed firefighter, paramedics, law enforcement officers, and hospital staff. Classes currently being offered by Response Ready Medical include CPR and AED, CPR, AED, and first aid, emergency trauma care, child and babysitting safety, CABS, backcountry medicine, and wilderness first aid. Your premium partner in emergency preparedness, Response Ready Medical. Thanks again, and if this resonates with you, I want to welcome you to the tribe and encourage you to share this podcast with your friends. Hit subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Pursuing Freedom Outdoors. And if you or someone you know has a great story about life or the wilderness, I want to share it. You can shoot me a message on Instagram or email me with all inquiries and questions at thomas@pursuingfreedomoutdoors.com. That's Thomas, THOMAS, at pursuingfreedomoutdoors.com. Until next time, Get out there, get after it, and pursue freedom in the outdoors.